Hello, my distinguished audience. I would like to welcome you back to Diddy Strides, where we analyze trending issues. We do news commentaries and social commentaries. We make sincere attempts to be quite unbiased in our presentations. Our goal is to form healthy and positive perspectives, as such, contributing our quota to making our society a better place to live. For us in Daily Strides, we're focused on the 2023 presidential election because that is the most important news today. And I think that should be the most important news for every Nigerian. Please, if you like such contents, please subscribe, like, and share our videos in the group you belong. Don't forget to hit the notification button for subsequent updates like this. Please, I beg of you again, please support me. And the only way you can do that for now is to subscribe, like my video. You can also share my video. Subscribe and like so that YouTube algorithm will favor me. Thank you very much for returning back. I like to say good morning, good evening, um, good afternoon, depending on the time zone from which you're watching this video right now. Thank you so much for returning back. Thank you so much for always expecting something from me. All right. Uh, Today, I would like to do something that I think will be you will find very useful. All right. It's concerning the article that Soludo wrote. Okay. Yes, Soludo responded, but he decided to respond by writing a very lengthy article, okay, uh, which for me is suspicious. All right. I expect that ordinarily the way he granted the interview on Channels Television and indicted Peter B by saying um, that his investment in Anambra State is next to none. We're talking about an investment that Peter B did over, I would say, over 10 years right now, that his investment is next to none. All right? So I expect him to actually come, grant and subject himself to another interview, and then uh, explain and come up with something very concrete. But instead of doing that, he chose to do a lengthy article which he calls History Beckons I Will Not Be Silent, something like that. History Beckons and I Will Not Be Silent. Okay, and he calls that part one. So we're expecting part two. That is to tell you that he's really prepared, okay? And that also confirms my first assertion. For some of you who don't really know what I'm talking about, um, if you want to know the background to this video, see my video. Uh, see my video. Soludo discredits Peter B. That will give you a background of this video. Actually, Soludo granted an interview on Channels Television where he said that the investment that Peter B did over 10 years ago in Anambra State is next to none. Okay? Uh, and of course, the internet was awash with all sort of criticism and all that. Okay? Because we were not just looking at what he said, we saw the body language. It's quite very obvious that he's not a fan of P2B from the way it looks as if Hashem was trying to bring P2B into the whole discussion. All right. He kind of put up um, some sort of disposition that appears as though he's being irritated by those questions. But I know that they were all calculated attempt. Even the interview on Channels Television was a calculated attempt, even though they said the focus of that interview was supposed to be 2023 budget for Anambra State. At the end of the day, they had to start talking about P2B. Okay. So I will tell you why my first assertion in that first video that I did was the fact that this whole thing are calculated attempts. All right. They are political move. All right. So by the time I'm done, okay, with the article, you will understand all this. Okay. You will come to understand who actually is Soludo serving his interest. All right. It's quite very obvious if you read the lengthy article that he wrote and gave us an assignment to go and read and decipher. Well, Soludo, I've done your assignment, and then I want to submit my uh, deduction from the assignment. I hope I will have a good mark and a very wonderful mark from you and also from my viewers. Okay. All right. That is the background. Okay. When people reacted, instead of answering, he went to write those long letters. Okay. All right. But it's quite disappointing that those lengthy, cunningly crafted words were just another empty political rhetorics. I want you to read it. I'm not just being biased. This is what uh, I've read. The description, the link, the link to that article is on the description of this video. So I added the link. You can take it. You can click the link to go and read it. All right. Then at the end of the day, you have to come up with my conclusion, or you have to consider if I actually did justice to it or not. Because what I'm about to do right now is to analyze that letter. I want to analyze that article that he wrote. All right. I expected something more concrete. I thought he had something more concrete. But unfortunately, there were just rhetorics, the usual rhetorics that we are used to. Okay. But right now, in the words of Soludo, okay, we know the rhetorics that P2B has paid social media mobs that attacks anyone who goes against him. In his word, he calls them P2B and his social media mob. All right. When he was saying this, I thought it was Reno mockery. At this point, okay, I thought it was Reno mockery speaking. But my challenge to people who hold this view is, if you think that we are all supporting P2B because he has paid us, all right, then why not raise your own so-called social media mob to defend you or to push your agenda? Of course, like you rightly said, he rightly said that nobody owns the monopoly of the internet. So I challenge him to raise his own political mob, or what do you call it, social media mob. All right. If the best he could do, the best description he could give to the massive support that P2B is getting, not just online and offline, is to call P2B supporters mob. So I challenge him to go and raise his own mob, pay them, all right, to begin to champion his cause on the internet. Now, one thing they have failed to accept, which they know but they don't want to accept it, is the fact that P2B is receiving a massive support. Okay? He's receiving a massive support because P2B is a symbol of hope. Is a symbol of hope for a better Nigeria, for a safer Nigeria, for a more developed Nigeria, for a productive Nigeria. P2B once in his word said that Nigeria has qualified as a failed state, but the problem of Nigeria is solvable. And when he was asked what is he going to do different, he said that the problem of Nigeria have always been the lack of political will to do the right thing. The lack of political will. We've had leaders in the past who served us, but there was no political will to do the right thing. So that was what P2B said. All right? And he said that if the leader himself is not corrupt, if uh, the leader is not corrupt, every other person walking around him will follow suit. But when the leader is corrupt, and that is just it, when the leader is corrupt, the whole persons around will be corrupt. Okay? And that is why if you watch his campaign is based on his antecedents. His Go Verify campaign is based on what he has done in the past, and that is what he based his campaign upon. All right? Now, somebody like Soludo is instead of appreciating what the massive support P2B is getting, decides to call it P2B and his social media gang. Well, what I would say, let them keep deluding themselves, because let them keep lying to themselves until the reality will be done on them, unless if there's any other thing they know that we Nigerians don't know, unless if there's anything they've planned that we are not aware of. But from the way everything is going and the massive support that P2B is receiving, certainly come 2023, a new president is going to emerge in Nigeria, and that president is going to be P2B. All right? So, talking about P2B paying social media, what I'm doing right now, obviously, is in favor of P2B, right? But I have not met P2B one on one. I've not received any support financially from him. I fell in love with P2B many years ago. I was privileged or opportune to be in one of the congregations he addressed a couple of times, and then what he was saying, just the same thing he has been saying. All right, he's been saying that in Anambra State. What I'm telling you actually took place in Anambra State, and he has been a canvasser for good governance and cutting the cost of governance. Yes. So that was actually what he talked about. And then he used his own life and his own life as a governor to actually address the congregation. And nobody could say what you're saying is wrong. All right? Nobody could challenge him. There were dignitaries in that congregation. Nobody could challenge him. Everybody knew that what he was. There are people in that congregation who could even say the story better than him, because they knew what Anambra State used to be before P2B took over and where he brought Anambra State from. All right? So P2B, as you see him, that was when I started falling in love. In that congregation, I made a secret prayer to God. I said, God, let this man become the president of this country, because I know he's going to do better. Now, that's my history with P2B, not because he has paid me. That's my history with him. All right? There is something I saw in him. I believe that he can do better. P2B will not be the first Igbo man to vie for presidential this thing. All right? He wouldn't be the first Igbo man. Why is he receiving a massive support? Not because he's Igbo. He decides to be the president not just for Igbos, but the president of Nigeria. That's the kind of man we're looking for. But instead of people like Professor Chukwuma Soludo appreciating what is going on, understanding that this is a movement, this is a fight for the soul of Nigeria, this is a fight for a safer Nigeria, all right? He decides to name the massive support he's receiving as P2B and his social media gang, social media mob. All right. All I can say, people should keep lying to yourself until the reality is done. Now, he also upholds this same rhetoric that LP has no structure. I don't want to give credence to this, because we know that the structure is not the office. We know that the structure is the people. And we have seen over time, okay, we have seen over time the massive support that P2B is receiving all over the country without the so-called structure they are talking about. I don't know what kind of structure they are talking about. The structure is the people. The people are the structure, and we have seen the people. This is a revolution. Is all about the people. This is a revolution with your PVC. Okay, so uh, he also upholds. This is what, as you read, this is some of the things you're going to see. He also upholds the rhetoric that it is not yet the time for P2B on Debo to It's not the time for P2B and Ndibo to produce a president. Oh my God. When he was speaking like this, I thought it was Dino Melaye was speaking, all right? So at this point, uh, please, I want us to help him. Beg him to tell us when is the right time for Ndibo to actually produce a presidential candidate or produce the president. Okay, I don't know who actually gave him the right. Is it his prerogative to actually tell Ndibo when it's right? All right, when it is right to produce a president. All right, and under which party should that president or should that candidate vie for the position? So he should tell us. Maybe he's the one um uh, uh, distributing or telling us, sharing the slots, whose time it is. Maybe he's going to tell us, okay, and who is the best candidate. Maybe him. All right. So um, he should tell us that, okay. So, but I know that it is not within his capacity to tell Ndibo when to produce a presidential candidate. If his ego is going to actually allow him accept that, it is never in his capacity to do that. All right, and that is the whole thing. Okay. Now, P2B support is only on the. He also said that P2B support is only on the internet, citing Osun State election as an evidence that P2B and Labour Party will lose the come 2023 presidential election. All right. I think I don't want to give credence to this because we know that Osun, whatever, is not the basis for that. Okay. Um, Between that time and now, P2B was in Osun State to canvass for PDP as a PDP person. So what are you saying? Just within a few months interval. Oh my God. All right. What they didn't know is that a whole lot have have happened. Osun State is not a yardstick, is not a standard, and will never be a standard. Okay, the question is, if not P2B, who? Who do you think is that? That's the question. If it's not P2B, then who then are you going to give your vote to? Is it the Jagaban? Or is it our Dubai Alhaji? So who exactly do you think is the preferable candidate, if not P2B? Okay? So he's saying that the support that P2B is getting is massive. I think we've gone past this. Time and events have overtaken this. That's why I said I'm so disappointed. I expect him to come out with something more concrete, but unfortunately, he's just repeating what all the opponents are saying. That means he doesn't really have anything concrete against P2B. All right, he has nothing. For him to have gone to the extent of saying that P2B is playing a game, and P2B knows the game is playing, and the game is the reason why P2B wouldn't want to come to ABGA, that he offered P2B the opportunity to come to ABGA to actually become the presidential candidate of ABGA, that he told P2B that he's not going to win. In fact, I don't want to go ahead of myself because I'll come to that, okay? So he said he's playing a game. We all know that amongst the three forefront candidates, frontline candidates, that P2B is the one that works, that is the most hardworking amongst them. All right, is the most hardworking amongst them. The reason is because he's more younger, he's more energetic, and he knows he has more job to do. We have seen him all over the place at the same time. Aisha Yusuf was opportune to be in one of his in his entourage, and he saw that the man is a workaholic. So he is putting all this energy, putting all this commitment, and his own so-called brother said he's playing a game, that he should enjoy the funny frenzy, whatever. In fact, it's all right. Please, I don't want to. I just want to analyze what he said. Okay, Now, if what P2B is doing is a game, I wonder who the umpire of that game is. If what P2B is doing is a game, I wonder what the rules of that game is. All right. I wonder what game is that. All right. He doesn't. If he thinks that P2B is playing the game, wait until that game becomes the basis of choosing the next president of the country. All I will say at this point is anybody who holds this opinion should keep deluding himself until the reality is done. Okay? We are not playing games. We are not playing games. All right? So, but I'm not here to defend that. Okay? Let's leave it at that. So eventually we will know who is actually playing a game and who is not playing a game. All right? Then he went on to insult Ndibo. The usual insult on Ndibo as a people who don't understand politics. In the words of Soludo, Nzobu Nzobu politics. All right? But at this time, at this point, I want to ask, who is Soludo working for? Who is Soludo working for? All right? If there is anything we can deduce from this whole thing is that even the interview, Channel's interview was actually like my first assertion is now confirmed. All right, that Channel's interview was politically motivated. You know, when he said it, people were like, "Did he make a mistake, or was it a slip of tongue, or was it that Shehu pushed him to say that, or all that?" So it's now obvious that actually, all right, that he masterminded the whole thing. Okay, that is what we can take home at this point. It's quite very obvious from what he wrote. All right, like I said, I'm leaving the link of that article in the description of this video so that you can go and read it. Now, whose interest politically is he serving? Now, if you read that article, it's quite very obvious considering the timing of his interview in Channels Television and his lengthy article that he's serving the interests of APC, Tinubu, and Buhari government who put him in power in Anambra State. Now, it is very true that it was Buhari's government and APC that actually installed him as the governor of Anambra State. This is something that is generally known, okay, in Anambra State. All right, even though he vied through ABGA. All right, because ABGA is almost a religion. If you want to clinch that state, if you want to hold on to that, the seat of a governor, you must go through ABGA. All right, but I think, don't worry, I'm going to really express my own opinion and what I think on the long run, what I think Soludo is actually serving. All right, now, though he's making it look like ABGA fight, but don't be deceived. ABGA and the said Professor Mahdi, thanks for his article. I've not even heard the name of that man. All right, Professor Mahdi, who is the presidential candidate for ABGA, are instruments meant to divide P2B's vote in Anambra State, and possibly among Ndibo, thereby giving Tinubu and his APC and Milokon gang an advantage in the Igbo states. All right? So, but I am sorry to say that Professor Chukuma Soludo is doing a bad job. Yes. He is supposed to be the henchman who will put P2B and his Go Verify campaign to final rest, as such, robbing him of his presidential ambition. Okay? But I am quick to accept that his long-awaited job is too weak. And if there is anything he succeeded in doing, it is giving credence to Obi's Go and Verify campaign. I know it was not intended to, but that is what he has succeeded in doing. All right? There are two things we could take home from everything that is happening and from his article. Number one is that P2B actually attracted Sab Miller and Bandi into Anambra State. A name is coming forth. This is contrary to what, there are a whole lot of contradictions when you listen to him and what he's saying. A whole lot of contradictions. And one of such contradictions was that at first in that channel's television, he denied uh, uh, he denied the knowledge of such investment. But now, according to him, he's coming up with a name. For some of you who don't know Sabmila, they are the producer of Hero Lager beer. That's one of the most prominent beer that is commonly drunk not only in the southeast but across the nation. Sabmila is an international brewery. Okay, Sabmila. So you can go do your research. So P2B attracted this particular uh, breweries into Anambra State. We all know how well breweries are doing. Let's consider Nigerian breweries and the rest. So we know. Okay? So P2B did this and bought shares for Anambra State with Anambra money. So it is confirmed that there was an investment which Soludo agrees to, whether he did that impulsively or not. Okay? But if you look at what his body language was, it was as though he even denied outrightly that he's not aware of such investment. He said, I don't know about such investment. And at the same vein, he said it's next to none. So you see a lot of contradictions. Then sometimes you wonder the way his mind works. You see the contradiction. You are saying you are not aware of it, and at the same time, you're saying it's next to nothing. All right? So, from what we know, that there is an investment. Now, if this investment had dwindled, which is still, that brewery is still in Anambra State till today. Yes, he's still in Anambra State till today. I need you to understand that. And still powering in Anambra State. If, as a result of inflation or whatever, that the worth of the shares are dwindled, that is common with investments. It has nothing to do with B2B. The idea of investing is a noble thing. We are arguing about P2B's investment. He's the first person that left government that we're arguing about his investment, not the money he stole from the coffers of the state. Okay, did you get that? So P2B is the first man we are arguing about his investment. The investment he made. What the worth of that investment, not the money he stole from the government. I think he deserves credit for what he did. Okay, so it's confirmed, which Soludo also agreed to, that there was an investment. Another thing, even though Soludo felt that the savings were unwarranted according to him, all right, P2B saved money in the coffers of Anambra State. All right, before leaving the office. This is a fact. The bank's details are there, so you can go and verify from such bank from those banks. He saved in dollars and he saved in naira. Okay, so P2B saved money in the coffers of Anambra State before leaving office. This is in addition to excellent performance in governance that earned him an international award. Go and verify. All right, now this is what I would tell you, negating whatever Soludo has to say. Okay? This is what I would tell you as an Anambrarian, because at least I met P2B's second tenure. So I can tell you this as an Anambrarian. It was much easier to live in Anambra State during P2B's administration than any other time past and present in Anambra State. I would not even think of coming to Anambra State or returning back home before P2B was the governor of Anambra State, or before he became the governor of Anambra State. It was always a tough decision for me to return back. It was always a Herculean task, because you think of the road you're going to apply, you think of erosion, you think of the dust, you think of everything you're going to go through, all right? All you will subject, you think of hooliganism, tout, insecurity, and all sorts. You wouldn't want to come back to Anambra State. But P2B, when he took over, he was able to bring a level of sanity in Anambra State. All right? This is one thing everybody knows. So it was quite very easier to live during P2B's administration than any other time. And I said this both past, before he became the president and after before he became the governor and after he became the governor of Anambra State. Now, there are a whole lot of reasons to that. For one, the cost of living was low. This is what I stand to attest anytime, any day. The cost of living was low and the standard of living was high. I give you this example from a very personal point of view. I was a young man just starting a family then. All right. I have a family of 4. Okay. And I could tell you categorically and authoritatively that 200 naira could give us a satisfactory dinner every night. All right. Then with 200 naira, you can get 11 huge wraps of loi loi. Okay. And that serves us for dinner. Because loi loi then was loi loi then was loi loi then was 20 naira. You can't get loi loi for 20 naira again. You have a 50 naira and 100 naira. And 20 naira is equivalent or is even more than that of 100 naira now. So for 200 naira, we get ordinary 200 naira should buy 10 wraps, but my customer will always give me an addition, making it what? Making it 11. And that serves us satisfactorily. That is not obtainable in Anambra State now. Okay? Cost of living is on the high side now. The standard of living is on the high side. Cost of living is high. And the standard of living is low. Sorry. Okay? Now, there were a whole lot of things Peter B did during his own time that is worthy of note. This is somebody, I'm saying this because he's trying to make it look as if the savings he made were unwarranted. Okay, there were other things that he should do with money that he didn't do. All right, but I am saying that the savings were in addition to excellent performance in governance. All right, of which he won an award for it. You can go and verify that. Okay, P2B paid the aged. Yes, he built schools and health centers, even in remote villages. The template of those schools, as you know, before I did this, I went back to my village. I needed to confirm. I have an idea of it, but I needed to confirm it. I had to ask a couple of people. That school, who built it, they say it was P2B. The pipe-borne water, who did it, they said is P2B. All right? He did that in all the schools, renovated all the schools. He renovated most of the schools, if not all. And then he didn't only do that, he gave them buses. And he also dug boreholes for them. All right? Equipped them, you heard him that he said he bought Xenos computers. Yes. He equipped those schools with computers and did a whole lot of things. Quite a lot of things he did. Now, what can we say? He built an ultra-modern state-of-the-art hospital, CALF, Amakoka, that's Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University Teaching Hospital, Amakoka, was built and equipped, conceived, built and equipped by P2B. Now, Chukwuma Soludo is trying to make it as if why will he be serving when people are in hospital, are dying of this thing, poverty or whatever. I think that is a baseless statement. There's no basis for that statement actually, because he's saying it as though P2B didn't do any other thing, okay, and he just only saved money. We know better. That's why I said that this whole thing is actually generated by, I don't want to say, will I say jealousy? If somebody is saying jealousy, that person might not be far from the truth. Okay? Even though he tried to deny being jealous of P2B. But from the way the whole thing is sounding, you had an opportunity to endorse him, to actually give credence to what he has done in Anambra State. You're talking about somebody who picked your predecessor, and your predecessor, there was an 8 years between the two of you. You are not even in a position to answer some of the questions about him. But you know he did well. All right? So if you look at this, you would come to the conclusion that there is an element of jealousy in this. Okay? PWB built quality road network. Roads were constructed, and these roads are still good and pliable. The roads that leads to my place is an evidence. I told you here that it's always a Herculean task to come back to my village. All right? But the roads now, thanks to P2B's administration, the roads are pliable up to today. All the access roads, I want you to mind my words. All the access road that leads to local government, all the local governments were built, including the ones that led to Oga's local government area, were built by P2B. If Soludo will tell you the truth, he has awarded some roads, and those roads he awarded, if he's going to tell you the truth, they are internal roads. They are village roads. Those are the roads he's doing. They are village roads. All right? So P2B paid pensions, never owed pensioners. All right? And then paid salaries. You heard him also say that there was no contractor who concluded his work that he didn't pay. If you know where P2B picked Anambra State from, you would appreciate his effort. Awka was a glorified village. The modernization of Anambra State was the precedence of P2B. Please note that Soludo is doing nothing new in Anambra State. Nothing new in Anambra State that P2B was not a forerunner to. And he has not even gotten close to P2B's, what P2B has done. He has not even gotten close to P2B's mark. He's just starting. Roads are just awarded. All right? And I know he has been in the office for over 100 days. Now, what is Soludo's argument? At this point, I want to consider Soludo's argument. His argument is that ABGA is the third force, not LP. ABGA is the third largest political party in Nigeria, maybe because ABGA has a stronghold in Anambra State and also have a few slots, maybe one or two slots, that also came from Anambra State in the House of Assembly. It's the only party, according to him, that has produced a state governor, apart from the two frontline parties. Okay? So ABGA is actually, according to him, the third force. Now, he also went on to say that he offered P2B the chance to come back to ABGA and contest as the presidential candidate. I want you to mind this, note this. And he was so sure, and he even told P2B that he was so sure that he and P2B is not going to win. That he isn't going to win. But that such will help to organize Ndibo, according to... Please, who wants to go embark on a journey? If you know P2B is a man, whenever he puts his mind, it might take him a while to put his mind on something, but if he decides to go for something, he goes all out to get it. So you're telling him now to come, use his political clout, use his political experiences, use his everything to come and vie for the president, become the presidential candidate of ABGA, and that you're so sure he's not going to win. What an offer. But that such will help to organize Ndibo. My question is, organize Ndibo for who? Who should P2B use his political clout and political experience and all that he knows and has to organize? Now, the thing is that we know, it's my opinion that Soludo knows the ambition of becoming the president of Nigeria. And he is seeing P2B realizing it even before him. And he felt that P2B realizing it is going to hamper his own chances of becoming the president. And this is why he's all out against P2B. Please, this has nothing to do with inviting P2B into ABGA or not inviting. Of course, P2B declined. If it is you, you would decline it. You are inviting me to come and become a presidential candidate. P2B is not your ordinary day politician. He's a heavyweight. So you're telling him to come into ABGA, to use his political experience, to use his political clout and everything. That's, as you know, that he's got. P2B knew that it was a trap. It was a trap to frustrate his ambition. All right. For me, I believe that Soludo just wanted P2B to do that for him, so that he will be, having done that, he will be in a better position to leverage on ABGA or whatever to get to where he wanted to get, even if it's not ABGA. But he said organize Ndibo for Professor Chukwuma Soludo. May God help us. Now he is making it look as if it is out. He's out and against P2B. Against P2B because P2B refused to return back to ABGA, having sworn to Ojukwu. This particular event is not provable, right? Having sworn, but he's only whipping sentiments. Having sworn to Ojukwu that he will not leave ABGA. At first, ABGA is not an Igbo party. You know, one of the reasons why ABGA is very strong in the Anambra State is because of the endorsement of Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. And it was what ABGA leveraged on to actually buy the heart of many Anambarians, was to sell ABGA as Nkabunkai, meaning that this is our own. But the truth is that ABGA is a national party. ABGA is not, Ojukwu is not, might be one of the founding fathers of ABGA, but he's not the only one. It's a national party. It's not just an Anambra something. Okay? So, the mentioning of the name Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, I think that's the reason. He's only whipping up sentiments. All right? Which, of course, everybody who reads that article knows. All right? Now, and I can tell you that it's not provable that he swore to Ojukwu, that is P2B swore to Ojukwu that he's not going to leave ABGA. So he should bring that proof if there's any proof, if that is even necessary. All right? Okay? So, like I said, ABGA is not an Igbo party. ABGA is a national party. But we know better. We know who he's working for. It's not an ABGA fight. This is Professor Chukwuma Soludo fight. All right? This is his fight. And we know that this is his fight. We know he has his own selfish interests, all right, alongside with his loyalty to APC government, all right? So we know all that. I hope you know that prior to him becoming the governor of Anambra State, that he was working with this present administration, that's the APC government. Yes, I think at an advisory capacity. Yes. So I hope you know that. And I believe that Buhari and the APC government gave him all the support needed to become the governor of Anambra State. That's exactly what is happening. Now, this is my take. If I am to meet Soludo, this is what I'm going to tell him. All right? My take on Soludo is, thank you for affirming that all that P2B is saying is the truth. In your usual I know it all attitude, you refuse to acknowledge the good effort of P2B, who is not even your immediate past predecessor. There was an 8 years between you and 8 years between you and P2B. All right? That you are a governor of Anambra State today, thanks to P2B, who picked Willie Obiano, who picked you. Okay, it's a relay. You once vied for the same office with another party and failed before you defected to ABGA. This is the same crime you are convicting P2B for. This is the same crime you are convicting P2B for. Defection is as old as politics. You also defected. So what wrong has P2B committed that you have not committed? My warning is, watch it, sir, that you don't end up demarketing yourself and reeling your own political ambitions. Watch it, that you don't destroy ABGA in Anambra State, the only state where ABGA seems to have a stronghold. Watch it. In your bid to work for APC and Tinubu, don't make yourself an enemy of Ndibo. Come down from your high horse, sir. You are intelligent yet, but you are not the most successful and you're not the most intelligent in Igbo land. If you think you're successful, someone is more successful than you. Nobody is. If you think you're intelligent, that's the way life is. There's someone out there who is more intelligent than you are. So these unwarranted insults on Ndibo as a people who don't know how to people who don't know how to do politics, they always do nzobu, is a derogatory statement that you must take back. Is a derogatory statement against the nation of the Igbos that you must take, the Igbo nation that you must take back. All right? So, like you wrote, you said history beckons. I'm not sure you remember that history will judge your action. Not just you. We judge our action one day. Well, like I said, I wish you well in your administration. In the words of P2B is a wise man, Jerry. In the words of P2B, you are the professor, he is a trader. Now, if him as a trader could do as much, then you improve. That's why you have continuity in governance. Governance does not end with, even in America today, if another president assumes the office of a president, there is still what to do. Okay? There is still what to do. So, where he stopped, sir, continue. But I want you to understand that at the end of the day, if onye ja atunyele mmadu ka aga eji wee tunyele ya. And I want if onye ga atunyele mmadu ka aga atunyele, as you've already thrown a jab and you've judged him, at the end of the day, all of us, there's a scorecard. We'll score you. But I wish you well. Okay? Thank you for what you're doing in Anambra State in terms of awarding roads and internal village roads. All right? But I also want to let you know that you see that Oka, Iso, but Anambra State. Oka, yes, there are buildings. I can tell you that the development, structural development in Oka right now is privately driven. It's driven by the private sector. This is what I'm very much aware of. Okay? So, Oga, and also the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, I want you to, how much have you invested in that hospital? What have you done? That's a gift that P2B gave us. What have you done? If you're so concerned about the Medicare or the health care of your people, how much have you done towards equipping that hospital the more? Towards employing more doctors, towards employing more nurses, and making sure that things are working perfectly well. How can such hospital be that costly? A government hospital. You can get, this is what I will tell you, in Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu Teaching Hospital, you can get a particular drug cheaper outside. It sells costly in the hospital. And this is supposed to be a government hospital. So how much have you done in that regards? So do more. Oka, in your own words, I want to use your phrase, next to nothing. Oka Road, especially the internal roads there in Oka, they are next to nothing. It's a challenge. As you're doing all these other ones, make sure that the roads in Oka are good. So Ebi Medebe, maybe another person, you have 8 years or you have 4 years. Because he got teaching 4 years before Ekuboku 8 years. So, sir, like I said, I wish you well, but desist from this demeaning politics you're playing. We see you as somebody who is intelligent. We respect you at your own level. All right. We believe you have the capacity to transform Anambra State. If only you can do away with this demeaning role you're playing right now and serve the people. Concentrate in governance. Forget about politics. Concentrate in governance because that is the basis for your judgment. If you do well, and if God says that Obi is going to become the president of the country, he will become. If God says you also will become, at your own time, you will become. So don't think that Obi is becoming the president of this country is going to jeopardize your chance. All right? Now, if there is anything you're frustrated about, maybe you're frustrated because you inherited a deficit and all that, the anger should not be directed to Peter B. The anger should be directed to your predecessor. But you cannot throw a jab against him because you know. Well, long live Anambra State. Long live Nigeria. As for me, I am unapologetic obedient. This is Diddy Strides, signing out.